Alright, hello all, welcome back to Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video here. We're gonna be doing a lot of showcases here at once within this video. This is essentially like a GT Boss team showcase. I, unfortunately, still do not have my own Omega Shenron. I am still summoning. I know I'll be able to guarantee getting him. Preferably, though, I'd pull him and be able to coin Pity Coin Gogeta, but regardless, I do know 100% I'm going to hit Pity. So it's a matter of time, but I want to do this now instead of waiting like 2 weeks down the line or some shit, right? So we do have a lot of new characters for this team, right? We did just get the Easy A for the Shadow Dragon Legion, which obviously they're on Easy A. They just we'll awaken all three together. I just wanted to start out here. I figured it'd make more sense with three characters to awaken. We do have the Super Easy A for Omega Shenron, and then finally we do have the Easy A for Tech Sin Shenron. I think all three of these guys should be pretty good. I have yet to try out Nova Shenron, but I have farmed out pretty much all of his link set. I think he'll look good, but we'll have to see. Because part of his thing is he does actually really need. In fact, a lot of this team is really dependent on like double Omega, but like in a fight like this, I think we'll look good. But obviously, we'll have to see. And then obviously, I do want to try out. I think this will be kind of funny. Omega Shenron. I think the AGL LR Carnival honestly might be better now than he was on release. As funny as that is, I mean, 2 years later. So I definitely want to try him out, and he's pretty much my only like real GT boss lead. So this is more of a 420 lead than a 440 lead in total, but I figure that should be decent enough, right? So let's get to awakening these guys. The bad thing about having to awaken all of them, I will say, um, well, I'm not exactly good on Kais right now. This is gonna hurt my Kai collection quite a bit here, but I definitely want to use all these guys, so I guess it is what it is. Okay, I'm glad I got those. See, I mean, I'm very close because I've also been awakening a lot of the characters for petty coins that I've been getting, like just any of the characters that I would be able to rainbow, but I hadn't yet, right? Because I've had a lot of those, just the shitty old SSRs to awaken. So it's been my summons have not been the best. Okay, well, I guess I got to use Elder Kai's on him. My summons have not been the best recently, but I'm powering through, and I'm exchanging all the old SSRs I can for the pity coins. Unfortunately, my Kais are gonna need quite a while to recover, I think. Well, I really hope they start giving out quite a bit more by the end of the celebration, because I'm gonna need them if I get either of the LRs. To tell you what. Oh, but yeah, there we go. We got the awakenings in. I do think this team, at least in like a fight like this, will do well. I am interested in trying them out against more fights. I'm not quite sure how it's going to go. I want to test how this is going to go first. 'Cause I really do think the team obviously wants to be, double Omega Shenron, the physical one. But if I don't have them, I think this might still work. Because, I mean, this guy has his temporary buff right now. So he should be pretty good. But all that aside, I mean, let's jump in. We'll find out regardless. I'm going to be very intrigued by what pretty much everyone is doing here. So, um, do I want to use a rainbow one? That's the thing. I haven't used a rainbow one yet. I could use a 55% one. In fact, I think that's what I'll do. I don't even care if the links are maxed out. We'll just use the 55% and we'll jump in. Okay, so we're at 786,000 HP, huh? I would prefer AGL Omega on this first rotation, but we'll make do. Okay, so with these characters, these initial sort of showcases, I do like to go over the kit just at the start here. But I am curious. Okay, I'd say all in all, it's pretty good starting defensive values. I mean, certainly we do need like AGL Omega over here is the thing to hold down slot 1, and we'll see how that goes. But I think this looks good. So I mean, everyone already knows, Baby, right? I've used him even a couple of times, I think. But for the Shadow Dragon Legion, so they are greatly raising attack on both SA effects, lowering attack and defense greatly lower on the 18 key, and also getting a high chance to stun on the 18 key. We go over here, which, by the way, no defense. I'm not a fan of not including defense, but they clearly started to do that on more characters that have still been good. Look at like Tao, look at Tien, right? Look at Gogeta, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. Like, they are starting to be a little more unique with kit design. I do like that. And especially because it's the fact that they're designing these characters around not having defense in their SA effect. When they get SA effect defense, like they just became so insane. In fact, they even know that because, the banner unit that released with Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, well, I suppose in the other banner, but for him at least, Pan has that huge defensive support on SA effect. So they understand what they're doing, and as long as they keep giving us more characters that give defensive support to allies on SA, especially for the GT boss team, because there's quite a few characters with that, I think we'll be good. So for this character, they're a pretty good support, right? They're getting a lot of their stats off of GT boss, or I suppose extreme class allies, up to 49% damage reduction, 210% stats, right? They do have more support, as well as effective against all types, with all extreme class or GT bosses, which you want to be running anyway. They got their typical sort of phase 2 up to 18 key, 154% total, and then they get the crit at 77, or excuse me, they get 77% crit at 24 key, and the target enemy being in the attack down or defensive down, they get an extra 7 key and 77% attack. So I do think they look pretty good. Now, once again, though, I think a lot of these characters, obviously, running them under double Omega is going to be the play. But I think they should look good still here. It just, I feel like a lot of these characters are balanced around it, right? Because, I mean, we don't have it up right now, right? But with 1 Omega, it'd be 59% damage reduction, right? With 2 Omegas, it'd be 69% damage reduction, which is obviously quite a bit. And we also don't have a support active right now, so it just goes to show, right, that this team, I think, has a lot of potential if this is without any Omega support. Now, Super Easy Omega also does not get defense on his SA effect, right? He does have some lowering, which I do think will be pretty interesting, especially like the Rose Zamasu fight. I feel like that could be very, very good. I really want to try this guy in there, but I'm hoping I can pull LR Omega. We'll see, though. And then he does have support, attack support for full power GT bosses with an additional 20% to extreme class. Per extreme class ally in the same turn, he's getting 20% crit and damage reduction, obviously excluding himself, so 40%. And then attack and defense 100% when attacking, so it goes up to 200% total. When there's another full power GT bosses category ally on the same team, 150% stats, and launching an additional attack with a great chance for super attack. When attacking with 12 or more keys, getting 100% attack and defense, right? As the third attacker in the turn, or when the target enemy is in the following status, attack down, defense down, 150% attack, launch an additional super attack. So, once again, he looks very good. Now, his role seems to be, to me, more of like a slot 3. I mean, obviously with third attacker in the turn. He seems like he's going to be debuffing very well with the good support. So I do like that. I will say, and I do need to test this, I think how you're supposed to really want to run these rotations is, and this is if you had like the actual Omega team, you know, both Omegas, right? I think what you'd want to do is have one Omega where Baby is, have Shadow Dragon Legion here, right, and then essentially the next rotation like this, right? One Omega in slot 1, and Sin Shenron in slot 2. And then you can have Nova Shenron, Super EZA STR Omega Shenron, and Carnival AGL Omega Shenron all floating. I think that would be the optimal sort of layout. And the reason for that is, as good as a lot of the Omegas are, right? Which is crazy for the AGL one especially, but as good as a lot of them are, they do require links. I mean, it's where they get from their links, these villain characters in general, but especially these Shadow Dragon villain characters, right? Shadow Dragons is giving you 20% attack and defense when it's maxed out. Big Bad Bosses is giving you 25% attack and defense when it's maxed out, right? GT is giving you 2 key attack and defense 10% up when it's maxed out. So in total, 55% attack and defense in the Link skill phase. And the Link phase is its own phase. So that's a true, I mean, however many links you have active, percentage increase. Now, Nova Shenron, however, does not have Big Bad Bosses, right? But he does still have GT and Shadow Dragon, so he's still getting 30%. So the thing is, though, until they do a same name linking update, like this Omega will never link with this Omega or this Omega, right? So a lot of the team being, I mean, if I had the most optimal team, we'd have 4 characters that are named Omega Shenron, right? So that could cause some issues, which is why I think Shadow Dragon Legion and Sin Shenron, if they're really good, serve a very vital function for this team in slot 2 of actually being able to bring it together. So I'm hoping we'll see that sort of performance. We'll have to see. I've done quite a bit of yapping here, although let me just go. You should know what Omega Shenron does. He can get up to 90% damage reduction, although since we don't have physical Omega, it's actually only up to 80% on this team. But let me just go over this guy real quick. It's a lot of characters I'm showcasing at once. And in fact, I haven't even gone over Nova. I feel like people know what Nova's been out for like a week or something. Okay, so Sin Shenron, he's greatly raising attack and defense, supreme damage, no debuffs, no stun, anything like that. Very basic, however very good when you consider his passive. So he is a Rainbow Orb Changer, P2 150% stats, high chance of crit, and then this is actually the bad wording, high chance of launching an additional super attack. You'd want it to be a high chance, a guaranteed additional with a high chance of becoming a super. Because if it's written that way, then it has you're still getting the attack in, so your hidden potential will have a higher chance of proccing, right? Which is obviously very good. Then for the first turn, he does have 40% damage reduction. Very interesting there. When attacking, he's disabling the enemy guard, and he's getting attack and defense 50% up per key sphere obtained to 350, so 7 key spheres is the max. And then he's getting different abilities throughout all of the sort of key spheres obtained, right? So he can get up to 50% extra crit, 40% extra damage reduction. He can get an additional super attack, and he can lower the enemy's attack and defense by 20% for 2 turns. So these are all very, very good effects, right? I do think he's going to be very insane. I mean, we'll have to see, but I think he's just straight up the best sub EZA we've gotten in quite a while, at least off details. And I think probably one of the better TURs in the game right now. I do think it's very possible. So we'll have to see. Which, by the way, on Double Omega, he can have 100% damage reduction on his first turn. Very, very crazy. Okay, let's do this, though. I wanted to go over everyone. I did not think it would take that long. Once again, this is the initial showcase. If I do more showcases, I won't, on this batch, I won't, I feel like I won't need to go over them again as in depth, right? So definitely, it's at 37.9. It's not the best that I have to use Baby in slot 1 here, because he's not even really meant as a slot 1. I mean, even with his temporary buff, he's more of like a slot 2-3. But I'm making do with what I got. 'Cause I do need AGL Omega Shenron over here. 41 mil, huh? That's very interesting. So another thing with physical Omega, right? He does give a lot of attack support, both through the phase 1, as well as through 40. Okay, as well as through the domain. And I'm just thinking, like, when you have 14.5 again, when you have that like crazy 25%, Jesus Christ. Like 25% attack raise on the domain. Like what that's gonna do for this team, I mean they're just gonna obliterate. Alright, what do we got here? I'm very curious to see this. Yeah, so the Rainbow Orbs. Okay, so he's 415,000 start a turn. Now I do have all of this sort of links done. He does get the 55% as well. You know, GT, Shadow Dragon, Big Bit Bosses. He gets a lot of his damage reduction from the Rainbow Key Spheres, so this is probably like my first time, or like my second time, something like that, properly using him. I only got Omega late last year. I did actually manage to pull a dupe for him off the Gogeta banner, however, so minus 69%. I suppose we'll just go for these orbs over here and try and go for all these for Sin Shenron. I'm going to save the domain for the next time he comes around. That way we can have our rotations are more put together, right? Because AGL Omega definitely does not want to be over here. That's good. He has the battle motion too. Okay, so 4 Rainbow Key Spheres. That is so crazy though with this team, I will say. It's just the amount of Rainbow Key Spheres being generated. You never really have to worry. And that's really good for this fight. 6.3. You really never have to worry about like AGL Omega, for example, like his condition. You never have to worry about whether or not Omega Shenron, the physical, is going to be able to get his support, right? Because he just needs a Rainbow Key Sphere. So, what you could do, I mean, it's just really crazy. We're just going to absolutely slaughter this fight. I do think so. Now, how we're going to do in other fights, I don't know, honestly. I would like to test this team in more stages, but it definitely, not having my own Omega does kind of bring it down quite a bit, so I'm not sure entirely. So that's 23.7. That's his first super. He can technically do 4 total. 25.5. And this is without the domain support, by the way. Okay. 27.3. And by the way, I mean, after he's just so tanky after all these, so we didn't get the hidden potential. 6.8, huh? I suppose with AGL Omega, he's definitely going to be more so meant as like a floater. I think for our purposes here, he'll work as a slot 1, but he's definitely meant more so as a floater. So that is something to keep in mind with him. But I do think with the massive amount of damage reduction he can get, he should look at least decent, especially next to the Shadow Dragon Legion when he's getting all that extra support, right? Okay, so we do have a decent bit higher starting defense now that we have one of the Omegas up. That's good. Now, this guy is also very interesting. Once again, I haven't tried him out yet. This Ray's attack and defense, since it's 4 turns, he'll have it even when he's floating. So I do think his design's actually very good. He essentially just needs to get 24 key, and that's, and be ran with extreme class characters, and then he's solid, So his design, it feels really, really good. And he does have the nullification, although I don't know. I suppose it could be good in like the Rose Goku Black fight, but I'm not really going to be able to take advantage of it like right here, for example. So, because this Blue Goku is doing unarmed super attacks, he's not doing Ki Blast, which I do think is good, at least because we do get to see the physical Omega get his counter right, and we got it twice last turn. So I think this team, and once again, I'm missing, obviously, one of the leaders, but after this easy A batch we got, 38.3, I do think this is potentially one of the better teams in the game. Now, I do want to keep reiterating, I am missing a very vital character for it, my own Omega Shenron. So, 40.8. God damn. Well, we don't want to do normals, buddy. Okay. Alright, man. Oh, no. That's not good. Well, what do we get hit for here? Double digits, huh? I suppose we do have the Blue Goku attack lowered by now, huh? Very interesting. Alright, well, at this point, I will, in fact... See, and this just goes to show. This is why the Shadow Dragon Legion and Sin Shenron are so important. We can't link with the STR Omega. Physical can't also... He also can't link with the AGL one. So we do need characters on slot 2 to really bring this together, right? And he has all of his links, and he's giving both of them. GT, Shadow Dragons, Big Big Bosses. And then obviously they're getting... Oh, he actually has the exact same link set. That's very interesting. Okay. So, just him being there gives both of them a lot of stats, which is obviously very, very good. Okay, let me use the domain here.
Since the minus energy was released, it's now a matter of time before this planet is dead. I can feel the planet dying underneath me.
Okay, so this domain obviously is actually very, very crazy. 25% attack for Inhuman Deeds, Power Absorption, or GT bosses, which, is literally just Omega's leader skill here, right? So his entire leader skill gets this. And then, superclass enemies and allies are taking 20% extra damage. And if you're an Earth Protecting Hero, Fuse Fighter, or GT Hero, which I don't think this Goku is any of those. He might be Earth Protecting Heroes, but I don't think he is. You'll get an additional 10%. Well, you'll receive an additional 10%. So, the way he's designed, I do think he's going to be very, very good. This team actually, it's so shocking. Playing the game as long as I have, to see that we might actually be in a reality. And I think it's not even close. I think it's very obvious that GT Bosses actually is like a competitive team now. And to me, that's just so crazy. GT Bosses, a competitive team. What timeline are we living in? But the amount of damage we're gonna do with these guys, he's doing 9 mil there. While also, and once again, I'm missing my own Omega, so they're not even looking as good defensively as they can. And that's a 55%. This is 55% Omega, by the way. 54 mil, by the way. Casual. Dude, this team is actually... It's insane. What they've managed to do here, it's nothing short of a miracle. For both Super Bosses and GT Bosses. Bringing these teams... And this just goes to show. It doesn't matter how ass your team is. 37.8, by the way. It doesn't matter how ass your team is. Dokkan has the ability to just, snap their fingers, 40.5, and just bring it back. Like, what other TUR is doing what this guy's doing? Providing vital links, right? And after Super, I mean, he's practically immune to damage, right? Well, I mean, if you're talking like a Rose Super, Well, honestly, I don't know. I think 58 mil. I think in certain scenarios he could actually tank a Rose Super. 58 mil again. Okay. Another 58 mil, and do we get the hidden potential? We do, but it's just the normal. So that guy can quadruple super 58 mils, and mine's only 79%. Is that good? I don't know. Oh, wait, what is this, 591,000 now? What is his... Oh, really? That's interesting. I have not seen this in quite... Well, once again, I think this is actually, like, my first time properly using him, so I don't know if I've even... Maybe in, like, a showcase when he initially came out. I'm gonna save that. Now, this is a turn here where, unfortunately, I can only get 3 Rainbow Key Spheres, right? So, on this turn, AGL Omega does have it's 35%, 45%, 66% damage reduction, I think, is what he has. Yeah, 66%. So, I mean, 66% is pretty good. But obviously, I mean, he's meant as a floater. Because he does also, and part of this is related to his revive, to be fair. He can get an additional super here. Right, but he is actually greatly raising defense on normal SA, with lowering attack and defense and sealing. And then on his 12 key, he is raising defense for 1 turn, with lowering attack and high chance of stunning. So if you have an additional build, and even like after the revive, he can actually get pretty good defensively, considering on the right sort of setup, he can get up to 90% damage reduction. And that is also part of the thing with him, is physical Omega can get double Rainbow Orb change, right? Both physical Omegas. So that's why it's kind of really important to have them. 96,000. Okay. I mean, I know we have Goku attack lowered by quite a bit, but I mean, this is pre-super 96,000. AGL Omega Shenron. Like, yeah, I get it, attack lower, and this Goku could be attack lowered, but that's like the whole GT boss thing. I mean, they all have attack lower, defense lower, whatever. I mean, GT bosses, since its inception, has always been all of these cards that have always belonged to GT bosses. I mean, the original Omegas, right? When they started to build up the category again, starting with like the 8th year. I mean, all of the characters have always had all these sort of shenanigans with attack and defense lowering, and it's just in the past, it didn't really make sense because you couldn't really use it anywhere. Now, however, we're in an environment where we can, so it does a lot. What is... I haven't used his active yet. What is this gonna do? Okay, yeah, we could see this. The burning spin. Might as well. Here, let me grab this real quick. And then we'll proc it.
Try to block my ultimate attack. Burning spin!
Goddamn. It's a 1.5 mil, huh? Now that is with Omega support, right? And he does get, for active skills, you do get all of this. So he does have his defense already too. So really, the only stats he doesn't have yet are any supers he gets. Well, another thing to note with him, he only has this original 144% right here. So having one Omega giving 70% is a pretty huge deal for him. But if we have both Omegas giving him 70%, which obviously is 140% total, I mean, he's practically doubling his phase 1. So this guy can look quite a bit better, even still. So that is something to note. Okay, well, let's see how this goes. I honestly, I think we might be approaching the end very rapidly. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know about this turn necessarily, but I think next turn we could kill. I mean, this domain just allows this team to do so much damage. You know, like it's crazy that GT bosses is actually like a viable team. Like I don't know, it feels so wild to me, but it's true. I mean, just look at what they're doing. Like, not a lot of teams, and to be fair, it's been several months since this fight came out, but not a lot of teams could just dominate this fight like this. I mean, we're on turn 6, and we're going to be finishing this by turn 7. And this is without one of the Omegas, right? So, I feel like that just goes to show, because you'll notice all the attack stats are a bit lower right now. Oh, we only got 2 supers with them, huh? Kind of unlucky. You'll notice all the attack stats are a bit lower this turn, and that's because Physical Omega does have the 70% phase 1 attack support, but it's for 4 turns. So at this point, it's actually run out. And they're still hitting pretty good numbers. Now, admittedly, I mean, the domain's up, but, you know, the idea with the GT boss team is you have your one Omega on the one turn, and the other Omega on the other turn, and you just pop the domain immediately. As soon as the one ends, you pop the other one, and you just absolutely slaughter, right? So I think they did a very, very good job. This is actually crazy here, because on this turn, 30%, right? 30%. We could get 60% lower. Like, what the hell? Now, I don't... Honestly, do both of them do damage? No, his is just I know AGL Omegas does damage. Let me use both of them just because I'm curious how it's. It's been forever since I've seen either of the actives, if I've ever seen either of the actives. So let me do them. Okay, there we go. And that's one lower. And then let's use this. Jesus Christ. So, with this team, I mean, we're having SA phase attack lower. Like, AGL Omega, for example, is having attack lower. SDR Omega, attack lower. We're having active skill attack lower. Like, dude, he can't do anything. We're lowering his attack from every single source. Like, even without my own Omega, honestly, it might be possible to do special battle. With just the amount of lowering we have access to, like, it's pretty nuts. I would think the play would be, even through all of our attack lowering, and admittedly, I mean, Physical Omega does have an AoE, but I think the idea would be kill Zamasu immediately, because, I mean, his locking obviously could still get us killed, right? But I think this team has gotten quite a big resurgence. And once again, I mean, we don't have the domain up right now. And that's just so wild to me. I mean, GT bosses, I mean, once again, I know I already said it, but GT bosses being an actual team It's just so wild. And I think part of what kind of sucks is you do really have to experiment with these guys a lot in the big fights, which I do like to do, but I mean from the sense of a lot of them are getting like pretty much all of their defensive stats on phase 2. So when we're loading in, and we're showing, the Shadow Dragon Legion at 700,000, right? It's like, okay, well I don't see any raised defense on SAFA. So, I mean, how good are they going to look? A lot of these guys are really, their strength is physical Omega. Like, he's the shield, they're the sword, essentially, is the idea behind this team. I do like how they did that sort of uniquely with Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and Omega Shenron. Whereas physical Omega is the shield that brings everyone behind them, allows them to be at their best so they can perform and like do good. And that's how he carries fights, right? He carries fights through making everyone around him look better. How Gogeta carries fights is everyone around him just sort of lends him their strength, right? Through like all the support. And then it just leads to these absolutely monstrous numbers. So I do like how they have sort of unique playstyles like that. It does make things, I think, actually kind of interesting. It's so wild to me. Oh, I kind of messed up the orbs there, huh? So we're only going to get 6 key spheres. I suppose there is also such a thing as too many rainbow key spheres, by the way. But we're only missing out on 50% of our stats here. We do still have like the additional super, so I think it's not the biggest deal. Especially because we'll probably kill this turn anyway. But yeah, I think this team is actually very crazy. I might jump into some more fights with this team like as is. I definitely want my own physical Omega, but I just, like I said, I don't want to wait forever to use him is the thing. And that's seemingly what I've been having to do, unfortunately. I cannot get lucky with falling him, unfortunately. I know I'll be able to get him. There's also the thing about, it does look like there's going to be some sort of banner. Well, not even look. There's going to be a banner on the 8th. Whatever that is going to be, I mean, who knows? I think there's a very real possibility it's Mini Super Saiyan 4 Goku. I also think there's a very real possibility that the pity coins we have right now will not transfer over to that, unfortunately. However, I would say that even if they don't, like even saying I don't think they will, I think you should save, just to be safe. But I think as soon as I can get Omega, I don't know, I might wait though until the 8th to see whoever the new character is. Because there's a lot of, and honestly, I mean, maybe I should make a video about it, I didn't. Because I feel like, by the time I even saw people starting to talk about that, I feel like a lot of people have already made videos on it, but I don't know, it is something that's very interesting, and I do think it's going to happen. And there's actually quite a lot of clues pointing to a banner coming. It's not just a bunch of, like, hearsay. Right? So, either way, I think the celebration's been very good so far. I think there's still a decent bit to expect from it. We do know we have a content drop coming on Friday. And today's Tuesday? Or is today Wednesday? I don't know. We have a content drop coming soon. So we'll see what's in there. There should be the Twitter like special battle in there and like the Popo event reset. We should be able to get the remaining bit of our rainbow tickets there. So we're in for a pretty interesting end to the celebration. I do think so. Now, unfortunately, these last couple of turns have actually gone quite a bit slower in the beginning of the fight. And that is part of the thing where it's like, not having my own Omega really sucks. Because it's the fact that we weren't able to use the domain immediately, and then now we don't have a domain at all. Right? If I use my domain turn 1, and then I use another domain on, I suppose it'd be turn 4, then, I mean, we'd have 6 turns of domain coverage. and the amount of attack we'd be able to do within that time, like it, because the physical Omega would still have his attack support 70% for 4 turns. So we would have been able to do a lot if I had my own. Unfortunately, I currently do not, but I'm working on it. Right, I'm trying to. So we'll see if and when I can manage to get my own. I'll definitely be sure to use this team some more. I really like that so much about the celebration, though. I will say, villains, I feel like I've never been backed to such a high degree. I see a lot of people saying like the villain teams are like they still need a lot of help, and surely, I mean, I will always take as much. I'll always take all the help, but I feel like they're honestly in a really good spot. So I don't know. I mean, sure, would it suck? Because I do think it seems kind of obvious to me, since I mean we knew GT was part 2, and since the start of this celebration, that Vegeta and Trunks and Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta would both EZA in part 3. So does it kind of suck that the finale sort of stuff, it looks like it's going to be hero stuff when both those teams are pretty overloaded? Sure. I can get behind that, but for what they've done to these teams, I'm pretty happy with them, and especially if they continue to buff them through like Dokkan Fest TURs, I think they'll be in a pretty good spot. And I do think like at least GT Bosses has a good chance of getting one. Like, the fact that we got Super Saiyan 4 Goku from the baby fight this year, maybe not even like baby from that fight, but I do think we'll get a baby Dokkan Fest TUR at some point. We'll have to see though. But either way, I think that about wraps things up. I mean, we won the fight obviously very easily. We took some damage occasionally, but it wasn't ever really like we were ever threatened. Maybe I'll put like a little note at the beginning, just to say, hey, you might want to skip to this timestamp, because I was going over the kits for quite a while, but with the initial showcase, and it's only a thing I've started to do recently, I do like to go over the kits and all the intricacies of them for the initial showcase, at least. I don't know, just for anyone that hasn't read the characters or whatever, I think it's a good thing to do, just to get in, to show what everyone does, right? Because it's also a thing of, you know, I don't know if a new player may be watching this, or, you know, a player 2 years down the line may be watching this or something. So I feel like it's a good idea to sort of show exactly what the kit is now and get the thoughts in now for all that. I don't know if I'm really explaining this the best, but I don't know. I like the idea of doing it, so for the initial ones at least, I've been trying to do them. For the further showcases, I don't think it's necessarily needed. But regardless, I'm going to end this here. I think GT Bosses is actually really good. I mean, the fact that we just crossed Blue Goku like that, and I know we attack lowered, but I think even if we jump into the Rose Masu fight, it won't be the most difficult overall. I mean, not having my own physical Omega definitely will be rough. But I think it actually, it stands a good chance at least. So I might try that. I might like jump into another Battle Hard for the Wolfo stage first. I don't know. But I definitely want to try this team out and the Super EZA Super Saiyan 4s more. Or try out the Super EZA Super Saiyan 4s out more. Pieces. I'm English is apparently hard this video, I tell you what. Alright, I'm gonna end this here though, regardless. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Take care.